Hey guys, I'm Ben here at EGX2014 and I'm joined by Tom Francis from Heat Signature. Sorry, what was your company name?
Company name is,
Tom
we don't
Francis?
really use it, but it's Suspicious Developments.
Okay, Suspicious Developments. I don't feel quite as bad about not knowing it now if you don't really use it.
We keep it a secret, which is part of the ethos.
So yeah, you're here showing Heat Signature and apparently working on it as well as showing it.
Yeah.
So anyone who doesn't know what Heat Signature is, could you try and describe it in 10 words or less?
10 words less, okay. You can go inside the spaceships.
Wow. Okay, yeah. That seems to describe it quite well. And it seems like a silly question to ask you, but what do you do on Heat Signature?
I am the designer, programmer, and when there's writing, I'll be the writer. And then we have art by John Roberts, who also did art for GunPoint, and we have music by Chris Burnett and Ivan Semidonin.
And you've already actually got, I think you only announced about the art and stuff going in. I only read the blog post a few days ago. It feels like, and it's already actually in some of it's already in the game here now, which is it looks really great so far.
Thanks.
So the game is obviously all set in space and go inside of ships. How are the ships procedurally generated in the game?
They are all of random size, and the layout of their thrusters and turrets is randomly generated. They are symmetrical on the outside in terms of where all the important stuff are, but when you go inside, the corridor layout is asymmetrical and just has to join up all of the rooms so that you can get from any place to any place once you're inside.
Are there any different classes of ships? Do you have specific ones that are going to be merchant ships or military ships? Or
Yeah, so not really. Right now, it's all kind of a test for the mechanics of the game, and is boarding a ship fun? How can boarding interact with flying a ship? Because you can hijack any of these ships and take them for yourself. You can fire all their turrets. You can make them fight each other. And so it's just to figure out whether that stuff's fun, and if so, what parts of it are fun. And then the next thing to do is to put it all in context and have there be some reason for these ships to be here and have them all on particular missions. So my plan for that is to have a kind of galaxy full of space stations, all owned by different factions. And then the ships that you encounter, right now they're just aimless, but in future they would be traveling between these space stations to haul cargo, trade, or possibly defend their trading ships from pirates or perhaps be pirates and try and intercept those. So any ship you'd encounter would have some particular mission. And actually I think I'm going to let you, if you get to their central computer and hack it, then you'll be able to find out what their mission is. So it'll tell you, oh yeah, I'm on my way to this station to trade these goods.
So a lot of depth planned.
Hopefully. I mean, obviously I haven't made any of this, so you should take it with a pinch of salt. But in my head, I feel like it shouldn't be that complicated to actually program. It wouldn't be there wouldn't be merchants with 17 different types of goods that they're trading for certain monetary values. It would just be this station produces water, this station produces food. So a cargo ship going from here to here is going to take water over there, and then when it arrives, it's going to come back with food. But it wouldn't be the whole galaxy is going to be simulated all the time. It's going to be more when you encounter a ship, if you're passing a trade route, it's likely to be a merchant ship because it's on a trade route.
So are you aiming on having different alien races, or are you going for everyone to be kind of the same? Or
no, not really. I'm trying to keep it as as close to reality as possible, even though it's the basic concept is very far from reality. I like things to be as grounded as possible. I don't like to use sci-fi tropes unless I have to, unless there's some really good reason why we need aliens or why we need robots or why we need space magic or anything like that. I prefer things to be, I like guns to be guns and people to be people. And I think it also makes it easier to write stories for it, which I haven't done yet, and I don't really know what form the story content will take. But when I do, I feel like it's easier to invest in a story when it's as close to the real world as it can be when it just involves people.
So obviously the game, as you said yourself, it's all kind of almost a showcase of the mechanics in play. At what point are you planning on saying these mechanics are kind of final? We'll start kind of aiming towards the things you've described. Do you have that in your head when that's going to happen, or is it just see how it goes?
I think pretty much when I get back from this trip, because I've been able to watch people play, I've been able to fix loads of things as they go, and it's clear that everyone's enjoying the basic mechanics in there right now. There's lots more in terms of systems on board the ship that I'd like to add. and that's quite higher priority. And then the galactic kind of context for it all is high priority as well. So those are the two main things to work on. I won't really like just work on mechanics, finish the mechanics, and then add context. I'll kind of switch between the two depending on which feels like the most important thing that is lacking right now.
Yeah.
So right now I think the two biggest problems are there's no context for your missions, so you don't know why you're doing them, and when you're aboard a ship, it's a very basic stealth game. There's not enough kind of richness and possibility space for you to mess around with that kind of stuff. So I think it'll only take like one or two systems to add to that before that feels really good.
Yeah.
And then for the context, I could go as deep as I want on that, but the most basic version would be space stations, things traveling between them.
With the basically, I guess the universe being randomly generated, when you die, it's obviously got a permadeath factor. Does the universe regenerate every time you die, or is there a chance you could come across things that you saw a ship when you see that ship again?
That's a good question. Right now it does regenerate the whole universe. You're probably restarting the game, but I do want the universe to be persistent, so you will be, rather than kind of rewinding time and going back to before anything ever happened, anything that happened in the galaxy you're in will still carry over to future lives. Because the lives can be very, very short,
yes,
or they can be quite long. Our record is 8 successive missions without dying, but most people will die in the first 30 seconds. And often lives are just a couple of minutes long, you just make a small mistake and you're dead.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be frustrating. I would like that to be like, that life is over, let's start a new life and do something else somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you do make progress towards like letting a faction take over more territory and conquer more space stations, then that should carry over to your next lives. And you could even have a situation where if all this stuff goes well and all these systems I'm thinking of work out, it would be cool if on one really successful life you manage to expand your faction's territory so that they become very dominant in the area, and then when you start as a new character you're playing as one of the other factions who's now been pushed out of their own home and they're trying to like fight back against the people you just worked for.
Yeah. So obviously the game is very heavy in development right now. Have you got any plans already in place for using anything like early access or anything like that? And is it solely for PC? Obviously, keyboard and mouse are the primary inputs right now. Have you had any thoughts about any other platforms?
So in terms of early access, I don't currently plan to do that. Haven't completely decided, but I'm going to. When I am doing testing, I'm going to ask people to sign up at this address.
Okay.
And that's just a mailing list where whenever we do testing, we'll let people on that list know how to get in on it. But my current thinking is to probably be like a closed beta of like maybe 1,000 people and run it for like a week, get some feedback, then shut it down, work on the game for a bit, and then maybe do that again in future. And that way you kind of hopefully get mostly new players each time, and you find out whether the game as it stands, taken on its own merits, works. Whereas if you do an ongoing beta where most of the people giving you feedback are the people who've been playing it for ages, you get a lot of feedback about just things that might upset their particular attachments to the game, and it's kind of in some way coloured by their previous experience. And really what you want to know is when someone sits down to play this for the first time, do they get it? Does it make sense? Does it work?
So you obviously you're here all four days of EGX. It's a nerve-wracking thing, kind of showing your game off to someone who could be really nice about it or someone who could be a troll. Is it always a nervous thing showing something like this off?
No, not really. I gave a talk yesterday and I was a bit nervous about that because I was playing the game live. It was a version of the game I'd only built an hour before, and I didn't have a script or even like much of a plan as to what I was going to show. I was just going to play it for a while and talk. But I settled into that pretty quickly, and I enjoy playing my game, and unexpected things happen, so that worked out okay. In terms of people coming up and playing it, no one's ever been unkind about it, and if they don't have a good experience, that's really useful for me, and I just type away at the code and try and fix whatever was causing that, and then I can put a new build on that machine, and the next person who plays can have a better experience, and we can find out if there are more problems after that.
So have you had a chance to check out anything else at EGX so far, or are you kind of at your station?
The thing I played yesterday was Elite Dangerous on the Oculus Rift, which I hadn't used for a while, and that was very impressive. The Oculus Rift technology, I think it's hard to tell in a show setting because the thing won't be configured exactly for your like focal range or whatever, so it's pretty blurry for me. But once you actually start looking around your cockpit and stuff, and realizing that when a ship like goes off screen, it isn't actually off screen. You can just keep looking, like that. That's amazing.
Is there anything that you're wanting to have a go of here at EGX before the end of the expo, if you get a chance?
I need to actually look around and see what's here because I haven't left my booth much.
Well, yeah, I think that's about it. It's yeah, the game's obviously still in development. You haven't got any set dates or anything for whenever anything's happening, so no. Yeah, so yeah, thank you very much for talking to me. I'm really looking forward to it. I want to get the URL to get signed up, but yeah, thank you very much for talking about Heat Signature with us. Yeah, okay.